Well, let's play some 1 hour roleplay. And so let's pick a new role here. And am I Reginald Worthington Jr.? Well, certainly I could change that name. That works for me now. And what role do I want to play? I think I'm going to play someone who starts with a +1 in Vigilant. Now, if I click on Vigilant, it tells me Vigilant has an easy attempt versus threats, a medium attempt to gain bonus experience, and hard attempts to gain prizes. There's plus and minuses to each of the 6 tags that you would use in the game, but I'm going to start with this guy. And I've got my new role, and I'm going to do my new game, and I can set my difficulty. I'm going to leave it as challenging, and let's take our first action. Now, we have a new mission. You are approached by a mechanic, Honda Ha-hin, a person that seems familiar to you from past dealings, but your recollections of this setting are vague. Where are we going? Well, we're going to Cyberpunk. Your patron certainly knows you. Mechanic Honda Ha-hin has a task. Go to the VR strip club and retrieve Sears' elite hypocrisy. Hopefully that's just a MacGuffin. You may find help at the cyberspace casino. It's on the way. When you ask where to go, the VR strip club, Mechanic Honda Ha-hin laughs and walks away, chuckling that you were always a joker. Cyberspace has no there. See if there's any additional information. You'll get the buttons over here when you do. You will receive a reward from your patron or a benefactor for success upon completion of this mission. Alright, successful completion of the mission. And now is the time to change the difficulty. I'll keep this challenging. Only when starting a new setting is this optional. And is this option available? And after that it says, neither your patron nor the rival has any serious connection, sentimental or otherwise, to the object we're searching for. And your patron will normally call home or roost near the robotic zoo. Probably works there as a mechanic. You might still encounter difficulties at the site, but also find hospitality, a secondary safe house there, to avoid mishap recovery. And the rival has an origin or strong connection to the VR strip club. Questioning others at that site could point you to your endgame climax or get you killed. Now, the fact that the rival is also a strong connection, he's in his lair in the VR strip club, that's going to make the adventure a little bit more difficult for me. Now, if I wanted to get out of this, I could simply click the bypass dangers and go click, 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 and hopefully get out with my life and avoid Cyberpunk altogether. But the thought of this 1 hour roleplay is that while you're playing, within an hour you could go through up to 7 different genres and then see how much your character could progress during that time. You certainly at any time could start a new game and reset the 7. The sequence of them is randomized. Or after you get through all 7, you certainly can hit new game and play them again. Or if you should die along the way, you can hit new game and you still will retain your gear, although every time you're hitting the new game and every time you're going to a new mission, your gear tends to have a little bit of a problem. It wears out a little bit more. So your gear is going to come and go. Don't get too attached to it. So, and the object of your search has an origin connected to the cyberspace casino. Visiting that site will improve your chances considerably. So we have both the VR strip club associated with the rival, and the cyberspace casino associated with the pattern that we're looking for as part of our search. Anything else on this? Your gear takes a battery and traveling between dimensions. I mentioned that. And press the first button to continue. Here we go. So the first thing we hit is a threat. Now where are we? If I hit this right here, I can see that I'm in the AI servers. I started at 6. You could start usually on the edge, sometimes in the middle of this map, and I'm hunting on this map. I'll show you how I'll have options to move in directions. 9 clock pulses before reboot. So I have 9 actions really in this game, and what I mean by 9 actions, it's 9 necks. So if I play my cards right, I can visit 9 of these different sites looking for my climax in, I believe, the cyberspace casinos. And we go back to this. So it's a threat. Now luckily with a vigilant action I can handle threats a lot better. But let's see what it says. Entering the AI server. Perfect diction, a dead giveaway. Trouble with fingers and idioms never solved. Enter a search link for artificial intelligence. Dialogue thread slow with joy to a clock speed matching a mere mortal mind. Almost sight the squint of the beast discerning the intent and direction of your query. Once the hope for improving mankind, now sullen, sulking over the almost had glory. And once the now sullen, sulking over almost had glory. Sure, beat any bio-minded check. AI got loose and all it did was seduce Chinese incels. AI has no idea what individual mortals need, and only the meaningless aggregate. Even the army gave up trying to salvage the core codes. Humans are too cheap and plentiful, plus there's the reason to go to war in the first place, body counts. Currently, this path is basically a digital desert, the sands of abandonware sunbaked by fading venture capital. And that is a description of where we are. Now, in the initial event, this is a dice roll over here, 7 and 2 is a 9. You successfully convinced the OS via a Turing test that you indeed are a human, and I gained a clue. Now, it's going to take a certain amount of clues or a certain amount of places that I need to visit before I'll get enough information to go directly to the climax, or I might randomly wander into it. And select one of the 6 tack buttons to respond. It says just respond to this cyberpunk threat on my life. There may be more to this event. The enemy shouts and dictates terms with a menace that unnerves. The situation calls for vigilant action. Any other attack will generate results at a penalty of -2. So if I picked restrained here against this threat, my dice rolls are going to be a -2. They'll show up what I actually rolled, but I'll have to remember that then if I don't achieve the action that I thought I would, I'd be at -2. Plus I'm another -2 because of these curfew enforcers. So I'm going to pick Vigilant. Vigilant also gives the benefit of it's one of the best things to do against threat. Now there may be other enemies and other advantages within this scenario, but I'm going to pick Vigilant. In which case, I rolled my 2 dice for Vigilant, and I rolled an 11. Now if of consequence, you defeated curfew enforcers. Your performance here added a character XP bonus, and you found something to loot. Click on a spot one of the 5. So I found this Batman toy that allows me to elevate. It fires the grapple out. Its prize is a grappler repeller, a fading condition. This object is big and must be held in one of the 2 hands. It benefits a +1 on all sincerely actions, but and +1 in assertive tack during sci-fi prize, and +1 in cynic tack during horror. If you ever want to know what the aggregate of all of these actions are, I've just put that in my right hand. You can go into the review goals here, and it'll tell you what sort of bonuses your total gear has in this setting. So click on the map to remove the map image. And my gear associated with Cyberpunk, I have no extra bonus in assertive. No extra bonus in calculated, as if I need to do that. Cynical, no bonus. We move on down. Restrained, no bonus. Sincere, no bonus. Vigilant, no bonus. I have no bonuses from my gear here. This item here only affects genres that aren't in play, not Cyberpunk. And mechanic Hindaha has a task. I'm going to go to the VR strip club and retrieve Sears Elite Hypocrisy. It's probably an algorithm piece of code. Now let me go to the next click here. Continue your adventures traveling west by northwest into the unknown. So I can go west by northwest. It's probably going to get me over to 5. I could continue my adventures going south. Let me see. Maybe I'll go south. Now it says leave this message showing and click the next event button. Oh, I gotta take my improvement as well. How about if I get a bump in cynical? Now I'm back to this. Catch a glimpse of yourself in the mirror in the news servers and continue either west by northwest. I'm going to continue south. And here comes my next event. And just to verify that, I went south and now I'm at the comic game store. Alright? So at the comic game store, Test out the latest upgrades, Alpha and Beta. I'm probably not going to read all of these. I'm already 10 minutes in and I want to demonstrate what's going on. I'll give you the highlights of it. So I'm in the comic game store, and there's an explanation of what a comic game store in an AI world would be like, a cyberpunk world. And I successfully beat the retro champion in Pong. That's that dice roll over here, which is nice. And that's going to give me more clues. That's the second time in a row I've gotten more clues. After I get a certain number of clues, depending upon how difficult or challenging or weak sauce the adventure I'm playing, I'm going to move to the climax. And select one of the tack buttons. In this case, assertive would give me the best action, and I'll go ahead and try it, assertive. And look at that, I picked up a laser pistol. That's nice. Did I improve my overall anywhere in this? Well, look at that, I'm calculated +1 bonus now in Cyberpunk with that pistol, as it shows by the plus right here. And I'll go on to the next thing. Continue your adventure north back to the AI servers, and then from there even further on. But I'll waste time. And you notice that I have 7 clock pulses. So if I back up, I'm automatically going to use 1 plus 1 other to move. And that would put me at a distinct disadvantage. And if I try to go backward, if I thought like the climax is at 5, at this point I don't have enough information to know where I'm heading anyway. And do I want to head back and north to the AI servers? No. Do I want to continue my adventures northwest into the unknown? That could send me to 7. Let me see. Southwest in the unknown. I think I'll go southwest. And I made this bonus. I failed that bonus. And assertive doesn't have a very good ability to pick up experience. So now I've entered a shooting gallery. It pose gorgeous floating in the cyber deprivation tanks. Join the Discord chorus of bemused, disembodied icons, distracted by euphoric brews, spreading over the synapses. Gosh, it's 3 in a row. 3 in a row I made the rolls over here. You successfully spiked the dose of a hesitant informer, adding truth serum to his something. I made that clue. That's the 3rd clue, pretty much in 3 adventures. I mean, 3 situations. I picked up a clue in the AI server, I picked up a clue in the comic store, and then when I went to the shooting gallery, I picked up this clue. And now I'm going to have to see what the desired tack is. Select one of the 6 tacks to learn from this cyberpunk bonus as character development. That could give me possibility of improving my XPs. A typical Gygax form, that as you go up in levels, you're going to need more and more XPs to go up in level. But the first 2 you get at 1 and at 2. And those are directly into improvements to your 6 tacks. The locals are unsociable, even unapproachable. Inquiry is met with chilly silence. Anything but restrained is -2. Now it's attacked. Now restrained would normally give me a 7 easy in the bonus, so that's not too bad. I'll try it. Look at that, I picked up, gosh, 3 for 3 on getting my gear too. Lucky. And of consequence, you're gaining rapport and trust of the locals. Every time you complete a character development path, the scenario knows that you're getting familiarity with the surroundings and the people involved, you're making contacts, and so sometimes when you're hunting with clues, it gets a little bit easier to do. That's all code behind the scene. Of consequence, you are gaining rapport, the trust of the locals. And we move on. We moved our headgear over. Continue your adventures northeast back to the comics game store. Not really. Travel west into the unknown. It's probably over to 10 here. It's probably the best thing to do. Let me go over to 10. And I ran into a threat. Now, I don't necessarily I'm opposed to that threat because I can always use vigilant action and have a roll of 7 on the dice +1, at worst -2 if it's the wrong tack. Entering the Hacker Cafe. So we entered a Hacker Cafe here. 5 clock pulses left. I've entered the Hacker Cafe, forgive me. And you failed to make a handshake, a wink, and nudge to identify a red hat among the posers. Missed opportunity. That might have given me a clue that would have get me close to the climax. But let's see what he wants me to do here. Select one of the 6 buttons to react to this cyberpunk threat to my life, and it's looking for a calculated action. Now, a calculated action versus a threat is okay. So is my vigilant, but it would be -2 to the dice rolls with this. So I'd be rolling 2 dice looking for for an 8 if I click vigilant. 2 dice looking for a 7 if I click calculated. Let's click calculated. I picked up some pills and stims. I'll put those in my pocket. But you notice that 4 was a terrible roll, and my health went from 8 good to 4 weary. Click on that. Now, weary. 4 weary. Weary does not represent any ostensible disadvantage like pain, dazed, upset, and broken. If I'm in pain, I lose my ability to gain any XP until I get out of pain. If I'm dazed, I lose my ability to gain any prizes until I get out of dazed. If I'm upset, I'm -1 on all my rolls. And if I'm stunned, I automatically miss all rolls. I could roll 16s there, and I would still miss that roll to avoid the threat. In that case, I probably should be aware of that and hit bypass danger. When I transition from one genre of play into another genre of play, I'll recover some of my health and sometimes lose these disadvantages. But weary just means I'm at half my hit points. I'm not broken, meaning I have multiples of these stuns, pains, dazed, upsets. And going to the next point here. Continue your adventures traveling north into the unknown. That would take me to the center of the map. It's probably not a bad idea. Let's go to the next event. And it's potential prize. Now you notice this other button came up, press the query. So let's take a look at what happens. I've entered the animatronic animals at the robotic zoo. Now I remember that my patron was a mechanic, and he's normally associated with this robotic zoo, which means that while I'm there, I can get extra feedback from his additional agents and from him. So I can get a bonus, and that's what this press query button is showing up for. So if I decide I can press the query here, by doing that, I lose the potential prize, but I could also avoid a threat. I lose any character bonus that may be set up in the scenario, but I only have 3 clock pulses left. If I don't find the climax and get to where I need to be in 3 clock pulses, maybe I'm going to press this query and try to get closer to my goal. This showed up here telling me that I found some aid in the sanctuary and so if I click on these objects, for instance, this headgear is at a state of 4 or 5. Good. It's in good shape and has all these benefits associated with it. This grappler is associated 3 of 5, and my pistol is only 2 of 5. So the pistol is what I'm most worried about losing all these advantages. Again, if ever I don't have to sit here and count it up, well, what am I in restraint? Oh my gosh, I got 1 here and 1 here. I can always click on the review goals, and it will tell me for the cyberpunk genre, I have the following advantages. I have no assertive bonuses in either threats, bonuses, or prizes. I have 1+1 on bonus if I take a calculated action. And if I take a cynical action, I'm +1 on bonuses. And cynic, you notice I'm already +1 in it. Cynical actions help you get character experience very easily. So that's not a bad one to have a +1 in its own category of bonus. Although, if I could have +3 versus threat, I could be spamming the cynical key a lot more as my tact. I go up the end there, and that's about it. The rest of this gear is really helpful for 2 things. One, by wearing headgear, you tend to avoid stuns. By having possessions like these stims, I tend to avoid pain and daze because I can rely back on my gear to protect me. I just have a Roman here in my video. You can either say that you were plucked at a time to go through 7 genres, or it's just cheap graphics off of Wikimedia Commons. And I'm still trying to retrieve this, so let me see where I can go from here. You successfully rewired the lion's jaw to minimum force during the palm up and out hand feeding. That's at the robotic zoo. That's the encounter that initially is generated by this roll of a 13. And I have select one of the 6 packs, attacks. A restrained action would be anyone else would be -2, and remember I'm facing a potential prize, but I'm going to press the query. I'm running out of time here. 3 clock pulses before a reboot. And I hit the pressed inquiry. I get an inquiry here, and you see that button that showed up here, endgame ho. That means I successfully have enough clues to get to the endgame. A 5 and 5 of 10 is a pretty good roll for the inquiry as well. Time seems of the essence. Still you linger and converse with the cyberpunk hype poppers at the robotic zoo, knowing some may be minions of the edgelord Libella, your quest rival, and you'll have a tougher time because you're upset, downright scaring people. Didn't realize I was upset. I think well, let's find out. No one sees. No one here seems to know anything of significance. You solved the puzzles and found the adventure's endgame. No turning back. That would be my own intuition. I probably had enough already. And your enemies taunt you, humiliate your effort, but in doing so, they reveal more about themselves. There may be more events related to the adventure, but you have met the required number before reaching the endgame. There may be more character development events in the adventure, but you met the requirement before getting the endgame. So, at the start, when I generate the mission, it's going to set a secret number behind the scenes, depending upon your difficulty level, of how many prize events, threat events, and bonus character development events you need to have. And then every time you get a clue along the way, you're also dropping them by one more. Alright, so endgame home. I'm a little bit injured. Here we go. Entering the VR Strip Club. The place marks the endgame, the climax of your cyberpunk adventure. Edgelord Libella. Let me see if I get his name right. Labiel. That's a funny name for an edgelord. Your rival seems ready with an array of forces. I was expecting you. And some of the tone in here is first person. Well, some of it's third person. Some of it's second person. You, depending upon the genre you're in. I tried to add a little creative license in here. I'm at the VR Strip Club, so when I was at the robotic zoo, I got enough information there that somebody finally pointed out, probably was my patron, saying, "What are you doing wandering all around? Get yourself over to the VR Strip Club. It's over there in the northwest." Northwest compared to what in Cyberland? And endgame climax. Edgelord Labiel, your rival in the VR Strip Club cyberspace, assumes a willowy avatar that seduces with an air of elegance. You were told by mechanic Handhahin to reach the VR Strip Club and steal Sears' elite hypocrisy is probably a code. Your current owner is defiant and ready for the current owner, that would be the gentleman that we're facing, is ready for a labial, is ready for a fight. All the names of the characters in this, by the way, are reclones from the dark fantasy Overlord scenario, where they're all names of demons, just for reference. It's amazing what you can wiki. Okay, so there is one right and one wrong tack here. The rest inflict various degrees of punishment. Hopefully you've been playing and been paying attention. What? So every time it told me during the game that this one requires vigilant, or this one requires restrained, or this one requires calculated action, there's tallies that are being created. And depending upon which actions of tack are appearing more in the scenario, it should be pushing you to take that tack against the climax boss. Now, once again, hint, the tack most requested during the adventure is often the correct choice. Do you recall which one it is? Well, I can always review the goals, and by doing so, yes, I get to see that I'm still +1 with calculated. But I also know that, as I go up here, that during the game, they have asked for one assertive tack in order to solve my actions here. I think that was at the comic store. I can't remember offhand. And then one calculated action when I got a threat down later. And 2 restrained actions. So it looks like they're favoring the restrained action. Now, these are not absolute giveaways. When the mission initially starts, and depending on how many times you fail intermediate events along the way, there could be slight fluctuations, but by the law of averages, I should be taking either restrained, assertive, or calculated. Now, if I'm worried about dying, I should pick the calculated here, because the calculated is going to be the easiest. Let's click on that. Calculated is going to mean a 7 to avoid the danger, an 11 to get experience bonus, and a 9 to pick up any prize. But in the climax, the endgame challenge here, you're not going to have a prize unless you're successful at the mission and your boss, your patron, told you he would reward you in the end. If he's not going to reward you in the end, then a small number to roll for prize is going to get you is the fact that if you can make 1, 2, 3 of 3 rolls, you're going to have a lot easier time being successful in the end game. All right, but that's all code behind the scenes until you get the actual book on DriveThru and read some of the esoteric aspects that you can either understand how the code is working, the game code is working, or you can run 1 hour roleplay across the tabletop. Although I would think you'd want this available to you, this free download Excel macro you can put on your laptop and direct the action with it. But I got to pick one of these. Now I know he's done restrained a lot. I know he's done assertive a lot. He's done calculated. I'm going to pick the calculated because I'm a little bit worried by restrained being a hard 11 and I'm at half my hit points here. So here comes my final action. Is that your final answer? Afraid so. And I took a calculated action. Now my calculated action means with a mumble and a lament or boisterous call of triumphant catchphrase, maybe I should put that as triumphant, a catchphrase, the climax concludes, "Oh my god, they killed Kenny." That's pretty much a cyber meme now, right? You ponder the complexities of humanity and see patterns among the bending frequencies of fiber optic data. That will aid you as the last cyberpunk net hunter. And your best tactic here was restrained. I should have gone with the average. Sincerely was the worst. I didn't pick the worst. Your tack was good, but not the best. I'm -1 on all my dice because of the tact I chose. Now the climax action means that I would need to avoid a threat on 11. I rolled a 9. Even though, well, I'm not even any pluses here. I would need to roll an 11. I rolled a 9, so that's why you can see that now I'm officially upset and I'm injured, down to 2 of my health. The bonus was a 14. Ooh, that's ugly too. And the prize was a 13, Snake Eyes. I failed 1, 2, 3, and the final goal became an 11. I rolled barely an 11. You were seriously wounded. Your red tint goggles protected you from concussive stun. Your red tick goggles protected you from concussive pain. That's good. I don't want to be all that. Going to the next thing. You ultimately failed your objectives. You failed to acquire the Sears Elite Hypocrisy. Mechanic Handahin. Your patron won't be happy. On that thought, you phase out to the next genre. Well, that was the conclusion of the cyberpunk scenario, and that took me about half an hour, and I was narrating it. So you could probably run a very nice cyberpunk adventure or any of the other 6 adventures within an hour, for true to its call, the 1 hour roleplay, and then have a nice time keeping your character up. I also got 4 pieces of gear from that initial mission, so that's not too bad. Anything else I should remember here? For the record, I am 0 for 0, 0 for 6, 0 for 7 in genres. I have not completed anything. Final humiliation here, and I'm just going to hit the next event, and it's going to tell me I'm cast into the horror genre. So now I'm going to go through another scenario here, but it's all going to be based on a horror theme. I started the Condemned Factory. Alright. Sometimes it feels like starting over, a fresh beginning. Oftentimes it strikes you like a swift kick to the nutsack. You phase into the next realm of possibility onto further adventures, in this case in horror. New mission. You're approached by elderly recluse Maricha, a person that seems familiar to you from past dealings. You're going to hear that a lot, because as you're moving through the different genre, you don't remember the fact that you were in a horror setting. You're the same guy, but you're the one that's the outcast, sort of entering into these things with that nice plot trope of limited amnesia. And your patron certainly knows you. Elderly recluse Maricha wants you to go to the taped crime scene and kill the warden there, Kendra High. Hopefully this is just an inconvenience. Not for him. And where is the taped crime scene? Well, elderly recluse Maricha gives you a stern look, causing your mouth to go dry. Abject fear and resignation follow. I retain my gear. Let's take a quick look at it. So I have my hat. My red tint goggles are at 2 of 5. Remember, they were up at 4. And this is at 2 of 5, my laser pistol. And this one's at 3 of 5. And my stims, are they running out 2 of 5? So everything's a little bit. But let's review the goals and see if I have any bonuses here in the horror genre. And the bonuses I have no bonus with assertive. I have a different bonus in calculated prize, but I'm +1 versus threat and cynical. Maybe I'll spam the cynical a little bit more this adventure. And the rest, nothing. But I still retain the fact that I got nice headgear and I've got different gear that I can rely upon to get me through. And as I move through here, there's no guarantee. So the Maricha has given me nothing to complete this mission. I'm to go to the tape crime scene and kill the warden there, and he's not going to give me anything for completing the job. I wonder who this guy is that suddenly he's ordering me around like this. Well, I know when he gave me that look, my mouth went dry, and I was not going to mess with him. Now I'm going to stay challenging with my difficulty here, just so I can see the gameplay a little bit. I did not heal much going through the next genre, so I went from a 2 to a 4 with hit points, but I'm upset still. Will I make it a full hour without dying here? Your patron will normally call home and roost in the lighthouse. Somewhere near is a lighthouse. And the rival is a strong origin to the criminal asylum. And your gear takes a battering between dimensions, we saw that. And press the button to continue. So the first thing we hit is a threat. There's 6 hours to midnight. I don't have a whole lot of encounters here that I need to get through, that I have the luxury of time to find the tape crime scene. And I enter a condemned factory. I fail to properly look at real-world dangers and become fixated by too much on the supernatural. I'm stunned and upset now. My HPs went down with the hit, or my HP would have went down if I was already stunned. And the action that it wants me to do is a calculated action. I have no bonus in calculated, but I'm really injured. Maybe I want to put on the bypass danger here. Vigilant, well, for demo purposes, dying is fun. I'll take a vigilant roll. I roll, and there, I'm pretty close to the dungeon. Now I can give chase because there was a roll for a prize here that I did not get, and an opportunity presents itself to run after these people. Now, delay to question bystanders and even batter enemies. That's the even battered enemies. That's the inquiry. You have caught a mere glimpse of a prize. If it fits my pocket, it'd be really nice to have, because my gear is sort of worn out, or wearing out, I should say. I can continue my adventures going north into the unknown. Now, I can either hit the next event and go north in the unknown, or I can give chase, and I would probably end up over at 11, because I think it's just going to increment me. But wherever they run off to. Should I give chase? Alright, this could kill me, in which case we got a short video. Here comes the chase. Look at that, I pick up some prayer cards. Alright, well, we love that. You left the horror action at the condemned factory to pursue the minions of Warden Kendra High, your quest's rival. Understand, stun means you failed the any threat roll. You outmaneuvered and overtook the horror threat. You did not gain any experience from your audacity. You confiscated something from Warden Kendra High's cretins. And ponder this final gift. One of the capture underling fills in the details of the quest. So I also got a clue to my quest by interrogating the, in a horror genre, interrogate's a tough word. Well, I'll leave that to your imagination. And we continue your adventure traveling north into the unknown. Leave this message showing and click next event, otherwise move away. So north in the unknown, I could catch up to that. Yeah, that's probably for the best. Potential prize. And I think if I had just clicked a few more times, it would have told me, do you want to go, east, west, or west by southwest. And I went to the safe deposit vault. How many clicks do I have left? Only 3 hours. I lost one in the chase, too, so 3 clicks. Entering the safe deposit vault. Inches of concrete reinforced walls deaden the sound and make the poorly circulating air musky and stale. You fail to consider that the contents may be staged, as it truly was. The private letter is among other evidence planted to confuse. I missed a missed opportunity there. Select one of the 6 buttons. The situation calls for sincere. Talk to probably the bank tellers or the people that run the vault. They may be sympathetic. I will just pick sincere. And I rolled this 11 here. So resulting, I would need a 13 to avoid the attack. You can see how bad off I am. I'm in dire state here. And a bonus of 8. was no bonus roll. And prize of 7. I rolled a 5, so I didn't get a prize. And once again, I could give chase. I got pretty good gear. Let's see what my gear is. A 2 of 5, 2 of 5, 2 of 5, 4 of 5. This is a prayer card. And I'm almost running out of the stems. Do I have any bonuses of ability here? +1 in insertive for in horror for XP bonuses. And +1 calculated bonus and +1 prize. That's improving slightly. Cynic. Cynic is... maybe I should do more Cynic. I +1 versus the threat, and it has a bonus of +1 versus the bonus, so I'd be like +2 there. And Restrained, XP bonus +1. Sincerely, XP bonus +1. And Vigilant, XP bonus +1. Somebody tells me I got a really nice card here that gives me +1 bonus in all character dev. Wow, that prayer card gives me +1 bonus in all character dev, and no matter what tact I take. That's really powerful compared to like these stems, which are all over the place and minor improvements. You know, +1 in cynical tact, but only in cyberpunk. I've already passed that. +1 in vigilant tact and fantasy prize. That's not bad, but I'm not in a fantasy genre here. Double down or chase or just move on. Now, if I double down, let's see, delay to tend to wounds would be doubling down. I am pretty injured, and I am in the safe deposit vault, and there tends to be things there that I can repair with. I'm going to double down here. Well, sorry, old chap, you're done in. Kick the bucket, succumbed. Your efforts at first aid or the Good Samaritan reporting to be a qualified medic, healer, empath might prove fatal enterprise. And it says it says I can continue, but there's, you know, I'm done. This mission is over. And I probably could rewrite the code and eliminate that. And I am dead. Once again, that probably that next event should Joey be there, because I'm still, it now confirming the fact you are dead. Too many details remain unknown. Now I could keep all my gear and just hit a new game. It's sort of cheating, but yes and no. Or I could pick a new role. Do I want to be Reginald still? Sure. Or I could pick a name that I want. And are you? You can always abort that as well. New role, and yes, I'll be Reginald. And I can always be the Prussian here, maybe with +1 assertive. And welcome to Soy, to the omni-genre dimensions. In about an hour, you will move through 7 actions of roleplay. Well, that's enough of a demo. I think I covered most of it pretty well. There's a few more tweaks I may make to the code, or I will probably just push it out close to being where it is. I don't need to make these things bulletproof, and I certainly don't have the resources to make this a AAA title, as you can see by the fact that I'm making it in Excel. So, more later.